Here's an article from the Gateway Pundit. Democrat Boston Mayor Michelle Wu accused of discrimination against white people. Democrat Boston Mayor Wu is facing another racial controversy. At an event in 2022, Wu said this past winter was pretty intense. Trial by snow, trial by firefighters union. I'm getting used to dealing with problems that are expensive, disruptive, and white. Now imagine if a white guy said disruptive and black. He'd be out of a job before he knew what was where. I'm talking about snowflakes, snowstorms, and snowflakes. In early February, Wu announced the creation of a reparations task force, which will look into the issue of reparations for black residents. Okay, even though none of them were a slave, but moving on. Wu is so disliked, the Gateway Pundit reported on her push for a law to stop protests outside her home during off hours. Now owners of 5 restaurants in Boston allege they have been discriminated against by Wu because of their white Italian heritage. Because white people aren't allowed to have heritage, culture, tradition, a nation. The legal dispute stems from the levying of a fee on restaurants in the North End area, which is known for its Italian heritage, for placing tables outside for outdoor dining. Court documents cited a joke she made in a St. Patrick's Day speech on March 17, 2022, in which she said, "I'm getting used to dealing with problems that are expensive, disruptive, and white." The debate about what should be considered discrimination amid a shifting sense of power felt among different communities. A May 2022 poll found that 40% of Americans felt there was more discrimination against white people than there was 5 years ago. Well, yeah, ever since Obama was president, the anti-white sentiment has become more apparent, in my opinion anyway. So it's good that 40% of Americans can see a discrimination against white people. That's a good sign. The legal challenge was refiled this year after an initial one was dismissed by a judge in October following a motion to dismiss the case by the city government. In 2022, Wu ordered that restaurants in the area that wanted to have outdoor dining for the summer would have to apply for a license to do so, which would cost $7,500. Really? That's a good way to milk the cow for all it's worth. And the use of parking spaces would cost an additional $480 per space used. God damn, milk that teat dry, why don't you? Court documents state that the order didn't apply to other restaurants elsewhere in Boston, noting that there were at least 114 restaurants in nearby vicinity with outdoor dining, a majority of which were not charged for a license. So yeah, how strange is that? With all those fees and stuff, you'd think the government's just trying to get money out of these restaurants. But the order doesn't apply to any other restaurants elsewhere in Boston. The latest amendment to the complaint reads, "The common identity of a North End restaurateur is white, of Italian heritage. The plaintiffs had a right to be treated the same as any other restaurant in the city and not be singled out to pay fees that other restaurants were not forced to pay in order to have outdoor dining because of their national origin, ethnicity, as appears in this case." When I read that part that said 40% of Americans feel that there's discrimination against white people, that's a ray of hope right there. It's not the majority, but it's pretty close. Anyway, that's it for my little ramble. Take care.